Okay, welcome back, everybody. Apologies for the way that the last one ended abruptly. That was my kiddos. For those of you that don't know, I mean, I share custody with a couple of kiddos. I try to be vague because of open source intelligence, but at the same time, like, you think I'm being watched and protected. We have, like, police chiefs in our family, like, on that side of the family. So, I mean, it's even more so. Like, I don't know, I've mentioned this on other videos. I've got, like, people watching the house regularly and, like, coming and going and all this. And, like, and it doesn't even take much. All it is just, like, oh, hey, you know, could you go check on this? Like, that's why I love Breaking Bad. Like, because it shows just exactly how stuff like that can be manipulated, like social engineering, and it's a huge part of cybersecurity. And it's funny because people, like, I tell them that, you know, I was in the first CSU cybersecurity cohort, and you know, which they developed in response to the cybersecurity issues plaguing the world, specifically ransomware. And yeah, so anyways, that's why I just find it funny with a lot of things. Like, I've even said on my videos before that I'm a basic honeypot, and like I have friends in like the alphabet agencies, and they like, yeah, so, well, no, they don't, but it's up there for interpretation, like, because you don't even need to give them permission. Ever since 9/11, they have permission to monitor your networks outside. I mean, I think it's a gray area of monitoring inside unless you have reasonable cause. Then it's just like a door is like halfway open. Oh, then you can enter the home because that's a reasonable cause for foul play.
Hey man, I need something.
All right, yeah, let's do Scooter, and then I got to tell you about this wicked cool. Actually, let's mention it real quick. So the immigration crisis. All right, and then Overlook needs a hero. Are you up for the job?
Hey man, I think Roland wanted you to go check out the town of Overlook. See if you can help the people there or whatever. Them folks been cooped up in their houses ever since they got the shivers. Dollars for donuts, they could use your help.
All right, so yeah, these are some really awesome missions. I love the storyline of this because it's like the ultimate. Well, no spoilers. Let's actually just enjoy it. So we're gonna go check on Overlook, be the overlooked medicine man. The overlooked. I just noticed that. All right, no, but for immigration, really cool thing on the Twitters, like, so I advocate for a lot of things. Criminal justice reform, basically like prison sentences being too long, or at least like the wrong tool. Like in your tool bag of tools to fix people or help people fix themselves, really. Let's see, where we gotta go? The Highlands Overlook. Basically, you need to give them the correct tools. Now, locking people in prison is good for keeping them off of the streets from repeating the crime or whatever, but that's assuming that somebody who commits a crime is trying to, like, they're a serial whatever, you know, and that's like lumping everybody in with that whole. So it's a bit overkill. And we have things like rehabilitation, we have programs, we have social in and out patient things, we have mental health facilities for substance abuse issues, you know, all sorts of things, like, or for depression or, you know, suicide attempts. Like, the mental health stigma being removed is key to fixing people. And so when you say it that way, it's like, oh, well, that makes sense, you know, like, let's just fix people the way we fix people. Well, we fix the wealthy people a certain way and the unwealthy people a different way. Prison. So the wealthy people get things like therapy, they get things like doctor's visits and, you know, regular dentist visits and things like that, things that wouldn't really plague their mind. Now, that's why we need to elect people of all different types into power, because then you get viewpoints. That's why I love AOC. Like, she's a bartender. Like, she tended bar. Now, granted, it was probably some hoity-toity bar in New York or something. I don't know. Or it could have been a dive bar. And actually, that's presumptuous of me to say, so apologies, AOC. I would like to see what kind of bars she tended. But even in the fact that she had to deal with people drinking, that's an ugly job. I did tips training, because the first job I had out of college, that's the drift a little bit, was working for a company that did software for alcohol companies, which, having a dad that committed suicide from alcohol, it was kind of a slap in the face, but I needed money, so I was like, all right, cool, I took the job. So, and I drank a lot. So anyways, back to Overlook. Oh, no, the immigration thing. Let me finish that thought. So on the Twitters, I did a thing, and now it's up to, like, you know, like almost 200,000 views and like 6,000. No, it's up over 6,000 likes, I think. Anyways, my point is, it got huge. I didn't mean for it to be, and all I said was we should make politicians take that civics test every year that they serve. And while I agree, because the test should also be updated every year with new information, because we have the power now. Like, we can update software at the drop of a hat. Granted, we pay a lot of people a lot of money to do these things, but, and not me, I work for a company that pays me a lot of money to make sure their tech works. So, and that's fine. And that's kind of a thing that kind of dealing with right now that is the job description, is to help with hands-on IT help. But that's okay. I think I'm actually going to figure that out a different way. Sorry, back to the story, the immigration. So if you link a couple of things together, okay, the border wall, that was a big, unsuccess. And the reason that this thing got so many likes, or to post, sorry, it's an X repost or post. It's not a zeet. I'm not going to say that until I figure out what it said. I mean, I just said it. It could be fun, but man, I was just figuring out the Twitters now. I got to learn something else. That's just me getting old. But anyways, old and grumpy. But no, the post was basically so successful because it was non-biased. It was neutral. I said all politicians, insinuating that yes, I believe Democrats and Republicans and independents, everything in between, make it scalable. Every politician needs to prove that they have updated knowledge that is current. And I'm not saying pass the bar once and be done like you do in law, which we need to address that as well. There needs to be refresher training courses for all of these professions that affect our lives so dearly and cause so many horrible inefficiencies and waste so much money. I'm talking legal now. But I proposed, oh wait, hold on. Let's back up. So I said that we need to make our politicians take a test. And then someone was like, I'm pro, we kept talking. There's a lot of people responding. And at some point, someone said, well, how many immigrants should we let in? Like they're cattle or something. I said unlimited until we figure things out. Because I'm also thinking of these other projects to try to help Mexico and other governments down there. And see, that's the thing, that's a blind spot for these people I'm talking to, because they don't know that this company the other company I used to work for is building a production plant down in Mexico, or at least they were, there was big talks about it. And they were also going to be laying off a lot of people, locally, because people that weren't able to convert because they needed to move certain things around. Sorry, I'm trying to say, it wasn't a big ugly layoff, it was a layoff, but essentially because of a business needing to be dynamic in a COVID and post-COVID time. So I get it. It's still ugly, but part of the reason we need to, we need solutions. We don't need to keep complaining about it. We got all these people back to work with the unemployment rate and all that. So that is good. Oh, that's a doll. Yeah. Anyways, the immigration thing. So it came out, someone's like, well, how many should we let in? Or could you go on with this proposal? Because I just threw out something like we should donate 5 miles on either side of the border to be a temporary housing facility or a community for people to process and then immigrate. All these people are coming, they're tired, they're dirty, there's not showers along the way, and it's a respect thing. They've come a long way, and then we're just basically up here arguing oh no, send them back, kick them back there. And then we're surprised when some of them hold a grudge and come up here and commit crimes and stuff. It's no, you disrespect me, I'll disrespect you, and I don't know. We got to act as if they are going to get in, just like with other immigration in the past. Granted, it was harder to keep track of things back in the days that my ancestors immigrated, but I don't know if my real name or my name is my real last name. I have Irish immigrant history. I've got German immigrant history, so who knows? I don't really know a lot about it. But my point is these people are going to come, and it's not forever too for a lot of these situations. Until we're able to help the rest of the Americas stabilize their governments and help the right way, not try to install puppet governments or whatever we've been doing. Because we've tried to do a bunch of solutions, and I get it. We've probably got some skeletons in the closet that I don't even want to know about. I don't have a security clearance, just first and foremost, and that's fine. I'd rather not. So, because it kind of makes you a target. No, I'm just kidding. That's a cyber thing. But anyways, no. So this company that I worked for, they're building a production plant down in Mexico, and I actually volunteered to go down there because I was like, well, I might be one of the people that doesn't have a job here, so maybe I could go do that and then, look for another job, something once we get it set up, because I can't be away from my kiddos, for more than a few weeks. But I was willing to do that, especially because they were so good to me. They paid me really well. They gave me a lot of respect, a lot of training. I was a heavy equipment operator there, first aid, first response team. It was good. It was a sweet deal, but things change. So anyways, my point being is things change. So these immigrants, if they got that little land, so this guy asked me to elaborate, or this person, I don't know if it's a guy or gal or in between, but no, they just asked. See, that's as easy as that. Use a pronoun they when in doubt. It's much easier than trying to do all that word vomit. So asked me. So I've been playing a lot of Fortnite, and that's almost like a deal breaker there. Then you have to like focus, but we can do this all day. Don't do that in real life. The bullets come down at terminal velocity and could hurt someone. But anyways, what was I saying? So they asked me to elaborate, and I did. I sent basically a page back of a post or a zeet, and then and I just laid it out. I was like, we have a lot of people coming here. If they had a place to shower, like take care of themselves, get back on their feet, and get processed properly with respect, then we'd have a lot less crime on the other end. And then I put in quotes, is that's a lot of it is like as soon as they get back on their feet, then they might need to tit for tat, and it's easy for people that are in a stable to say, wag their finger at people and be like, oh, you should just be on your best behavior all the time because they don't understand if you're camping, basically. And I said camping at best because these immigrants are coming here like outside, in the rain, in the heat, like all these radical like weather changes. You think it's radical for us to have houses to go to? I've got my AC on, not trying to brag. I'm just saying, like, it's a blind spot for me because I'm sitting here playing video games and enjoying AC while there's people out there sleeping on the ground. And that was the whole thing. I was trying to explain to my own kiddos that we're going to go camping. I mean, my family took me camping, and, it makes you a better person because you experience what it's like to sleep outside. Now, the people sleeping inside, like, oh, but, you got the cold, hard ground. I slept on a cactus once, but I was drinking. There was a cactus in my back when I woke up, and I was like, huh, and I was, like, bleeding out of my back. So anyways, no, it was fine. And I think it was the cactus that woke me up, actually, because I rolled over onto it, I believe. But still, I didn't check to make sure that I wasn't putting my tent on a clear area. And that mistake taught me a lesson. So not everybody gets that. Not everybody can afford to do that. Granted, I grew up pretty poor. I mean, on lower middle class. Sorry, not real poor, but like, we had to be careful with what we did. Now, I also had a friend growing up who didn't have to care whatsoever what he did. They would just buy new stuff. Like, so there you go. Two different problem-solving sets. Anyway, let's get back to Overlook. That's mainly the things. Okay, no, sorry. Last points on the immigration thing. We have a lot of people with nonviolent felonies in this country, and if we offered them pardons, we could round up several hundred volunteers to go down there and build houses and build infrastructure, especially if they got paid. And there's Biden's infrastructure bill. Like, what if we could just get one of that and fix the immigration crisis by, building a scalable, let's go away from the thing, by building a scalable and a long-term solution, a permanent solution, not a Band-Aid that's going to just get ripped off every 4 years when we change, or 8 years, at best, because who knows, Trump could still win. I mean, I don't know if he can be president from prison, but I'm just kidding. I don't like the guy. He doesn't solve the problems that matter to me and the people that I care about, so he doesn't really speak for me. I mean, that's my thing, so I didn't vote for him. But then, aside from that, I'm okay. Like, let's leave the guy alone. If he's going to go to prison, he's going to go to prison. If not, he's not. I mean, we can't be upset if he doesn't. That's the other thing. We are so violently divided here in the U.S. Well, not violently, like, people want to think it is. But for the same reason, the people that haven't ever fired a gun, like this, I mean, like, to some people, this is pretty shocking. Like, I would have this as a ringtone. Like, I used to shoot a lot of guns growing up. Granted, I was in a small redneck town and with a bunch of military family, so the other side of the fence. So I do respect gun rights. I also respect fixing the problem, mental health and all that, but we don't even need to get into that because I'm more focused on, with this immigration thing, you pardon all these people, they volunteer or very minimal, whatever. We should still pay them something, and you got to pay to get them there. Like, you can't expect them to, like, bend over backwards just to get there. Like, their time and their work is the volunteering. So, but anyways, you make a deal good enough like that, and you just pardon nonviolent offenses, just leave it open like that, whatever. Because the violent ones are the ones you really need to be like, yeah, you probably should be punished for that because you need to learn the lesson for that. We could even extend it to violent depending on certain situations because you also don't want to pigeonhole and make it to where, oh, sorry, can't do that. My hands are tied. Because, and that's off of Futurama, like the bureaucracy of government. It's an accidental mechanism that prohibits a lot of change and progress. It's an accidental mechanism. But at the end of the day, the people enforcing it, they're not getting paid very well, first of all, because you can't pay a lot of people very well, and then this and that for, we're trying to juggle the work and making sure people can live in this society. Yeah, it's all. Anyways, we do that with the border, then we can even do it and extend that to major cities and get rid of the homeless issue as well. And we help our own citizens. So there we go. And that idea scales. So that idea is then brought to other parts in the Americas. I just like saying America, like North, South, Central. Like I went down to Costa Rica. I loved it down there. Of course, I'm a privileged gringo. Like, I didn't have to worry about a lot of the same stuff. And granted, I was still a poor, alcoholic family like gringo. So, once they figured out that I was pretty similar, they'd be like, oh, okay, yeah, like, let's hang out, let's do stuff. So, in fact, as we were like drinking down there. Sorry, hold on a second.
For the next week, the grinder will only be used for egregious felonies.
Okay, let's get to the game because I just wanted to get that out there. I thought it was really cool and it's going to get a lot of traction, but basically, if even one person takes that idea and runs with it, then it could happen. Like if Elon Musk sees the huge view count, and I actually interact with someone that interacted with him, Elon commented on one of his things. I mean, for his own business, like he does that every now and then. He'll throw a comment on people that a lot of people are following. I think you have to be like over like 100,000 or something, which I'm hovering around 4,100, and that's mostly because of the blue wave, because I'm a Democrat, and I'm a Democrat, but I'm also an American, so like I'll worry about my Republican brothers and sisters, and so it's like I problem solve for my family and friends back home. I mean, it's not that weird for me. So anyways, although I will say that, but I did lose one friend because he refuses to make amends with his family because it's still a little too soon. Like they got into really big arguments over COVID, and now that's forced. I mean, that's his deal. Like I'm not to judge, but I understand it. I'm not going to put up with it, but I understand it. And so that's why we're still kind of not talking. I don't know. But anyways, not too much detail. Let's leave that alone. But it happens. So COVID sucked. Let's do some missions. Oh, there's like a bullet hole right there.
Hello. Given the skill with which you dispatched those robots, we of the town of Overlook thought you might give us a hand, so to speak. So, first item on the agenda, we're all dying of a brain disease. If you could get us 3 shipments of medication, we would live, which would allow me to keep paying you. Our medicine machine needs a new battery. Please climb the clock tower ladder and remove the clock's battery.
Welcome to Overlook.
I just want to drop all my money right there and just be like, there you go, but let's go fix this. So we need to get a power supply from the clock tower. Oh, this game is so good. Sorry, just... Oh yeah, there's a ladder there you could do. Ah. Just like in computer science, there's multiple ways to achieve the same results. If one doesn't work, be able to be dynamic and try out a different one. Okay. Or just go look for another job. Alright. The Overlooked Medicine Man. Warning, do not touch. Signed, Dave.
God damn it, some jackhole broke the clock tower! How the hell am I supposed to know what time it is now?
You found the battery. Plug it into our medicine machine and buy some skull shiver medication. Please. Once I find out who thought we needed a running clock more badly than we needed shiver medication, they will be thoroughly reprimanded.
Now, see, that's where blind spots can be dangerous because you need to think of the community as a whole. Like, so Dave, one at a time, and this, I love this game so much. But just to kind of point that out, because I'm dealing with a similar situation of me versus we, like, and then thoroughly reprimanded. That's what ends up happening, but you try to avoid it. Anyways, install power core. Buy some medicine. Medicine for the skull shivers. Tends to stop your skull from shivering. Okay.
Thank you, but we need 2 more medicine shipments. The next is carried by a traveling Hyperion requisition officer wandering the Highlands. Get the medicine from him. Without his guards, I'm sure the
Hyperion
salesman
wishes
will
to
give you a
remind
good
you
price
that
for
it
his
could
medicine.
be much worse.
Suggest killing them politely, if possible.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, these are like some of my favorite missions, both the clan war and then this. Like, the clan war is kind of bittersweet because for that same reason, it's like once you start to understand other people's problems and remove the blind spots, then you start to kind of like build these connections with them, and it's a great thing, but it's often a painful thing. So, yeah, blind spots are to be avoided, but. Hello. Actually, we could be cheap, but let's do it the real way. I usually just do it with the car, and that's like, you know, anyone could do that. Haha! Of course, anyone could do that too.
Milk for me, pasty cakes.
Woo! Ba-boom! I think that might be stalkers. Doing the Fortnite crouch. What's up there? Yeah, stalker. Alright, so we took out the guards.
If we got the money, I'll save
Another shipment of skull shivers medicine. Yeah.
Great. You're very efficient. I respect that. The last medicine shipment was being delivered by boat, but we lost contact. Find it, please.
I have no quarrel with you. Although I don't believe you can go through here. This is a... Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm pretty sure that's a wall. Because you gotta go all the way around. But you get to enjoy the scenery. And this is actually... You might recognize it from the opening scene. So, this is the same. Oh, and other news while we're traveling over there. I did a shorts on the YouTube for that retro gaming thing. So I'm setting that up, and that's going to be a really cool thing because I'm going to experiment with a few. I've got my kiddos testing out this NES one. It's a knockoff, and granted, I do have a Switch that stays at grandma's. You know, not too much open source intelligence, but again, I'm not a super wealthy person, but it is worth it to me. It's worth my time and the little bit of money that I do have for such side projects to see which one of these would actually be a good idea and what to look out for. Basically, Now it's interesting. Yeah, so it's even worse because I have a little bit of controller drift on these controllers, but like, let's see. But the wormhole thresher does suck you in. Die. Oh, tadpoles, they're okay. They're the little guys.
You can't stop me. I feel it deep, dark.
Okay. Well, glad we got it out of our system now, because this is basically what's supposed to happen when you go over there. And it still might. In fact, I think it is still going on, but... Whew. Okay. You gotta kind of aim a little low, just like firing a gun in real life. You gotta aim a little low depending on the kick, or you just really secure it so it doesn't kick. There we go. So got some heals. All right. Granted, I have a very large family that's in the military. I mean, just about everybody here has like access to a gun or can like owns a gun. So that was a whole like what was that saying like behind every blade of grass there's a gun. That's why people don't want to invade America. That's true, and like we need to understand that and believe it ourselves because we've been going too gung ho and freaking out the rest of the world. Again, South Park. South Park called this like it was their episode. What was it? It was right around 9/11. Let's see. Hold on. So, yeah, and what was I gonna go with that? Oh no, the kids were in there with like some kid from the Middle East, and the kid was showing them around and like saying, you know, like 2/3 of the world hates you because you don't realize that 2/3 of the world hates you. And it's like, and when I saw that whole BRICS thing, you know, I was surprised. I was like, oh my gosh, like there's a whole, you know, like, what is it, Brazil, Russia, India, and China. Granted, India is meeting with us and like, you know, and they're even meeting with Elon Musk and like nobody's like being like super enemies right now. But at the same time, ugh, like 2/3 of the world hates us. Like, I mean, that's a hard pill to swallow. But once we start getting past the lies, like, oh yeah, we're so great, we are so great, you know, and we do this in our cartoons, we mock ourselves, but then we don't make that connection, be like, oh wait, we need to be a little humble, we need to figure out their stuff, and we need to start fixing the rest of the world too. Granted, like, a lot of the Americans, yes, are thinking just like me, trying to figure these things out, trying to get bold solutions for global challenges.
Threshers, be careful.
Yeah. There we go. Oh, that's a strong wormhole thresher.
I swallowed your soul.
I thought there was gonna be a bigger one. Where's... Anyways, so we would have been bombarded with all of those. Yes, I got a skill point. See, I love that. Like, they give you a nice friendly reminder. Be like, hey, you got a skill point you haven't spent. Ooh, melee overhead skill. Oh, that's why. Yeah. Oh, okay. So the psychos, a little backstory, can do that. I don't know if we've come across. I think we have. But now we can do it. We can spray fire, basically swallow some alcohol and then not swallow it, keep it in your mouth and then spit it out. Again, something that people in other countries might not know about. Like alcohol was forbidden in most of the Middle East. It still is forbidden in Saudi Arabia, but like, you know, they're starting to realize that yeah, it's bad, but if you don't like abuse it, then it's not bad. But it's you got to be very careful because it's really easy to abuse. Anyways, Overlook Medicine Man, back to the game.
You got all the medicine. Efficient. Very efficient. Now please distribute that medicine around town. I'd do it myself, but Hyperion doesn't like it when we leave our homes.
Yeah. And that's what everyone is afraid of, is like a totalitarian dictatorship. Like, basically what we would have gotten with Trump, like, I don't know, I feel like, because we're rolling back a lot of things, like making old people pay more for medicine, like all of these just like basic like concepts. But then it's like, oh, the spending. It's like, oh my gosh. Sorry, that's like US in a nutshell, or the USA in a nutshell. It's like we got a bunch of richers that don't, and that's why this game is so profound too. It's like a big, like, you know, like thumb in the nose at, you know, big corporations and stuff. But also why the Pepsi company is doing that, like Pepsi for Good. They did all those campaigns, and that is calculated into a company's budget, is, you know, your good faith value and stuff. Like how much money can we spend towards fixing our image, making our image look good, etc., etc. And I also saw this little short video, which it was like a cola company. It didn't say Coca-Cola or Pepsi either way, but it was a cola company, and it was a short video, basically like I'm trying to remember the pieces of it. Like soldiers came in, killed a lot of the locals, put up the factories, and then the soda started sucking up the water, and then the crops started dying, and all of these things, these unintended consequences, which is very true. Like even Colorado, like a bunch of the small mountain towns are angry at the Front Range, Denver, Fort Collins, you know, Greeley, and all this, like, because they bought up a bunch of water rights and basically like swindled water rights through some sketchy doings. And and that's why like legal nonsense is so unfair, and why we need equity. And we have an entire show about Breaking Bad and then Better Call Saul about how we need to fix our healthcare and our legal systems because both are in shambles. And another reason why that's like my favorite show. Let's give some medicine. I'm so sorry. Fix your shivers. Actually, now I feel really bad because we were supposed to be like giving this medicine. And yes, these are all fake people.
Overlook
See,
has
even
once
that.
again inched out Jacksville for
Appreciate it.
curfew
Like,
violations.
oh,
For the next week, the grinder will only be used for egregious felonies like littering or profanity.
and then it says like, and verbal littering. Wait. Oh. No, that's right. We got to go talk to Mr. Clock Tower, who doesn't really give a rip. Mr. Me versus we.
Screw you! You can bring me medicine all day. It don't make you less of a skag sucker.
Sorry about Dave. He's a... we try not to talk to him.
There we go.
Return to me for your agreed-upon reward.
But again, a game. You can't just go around shooting houses. And not that I ever have. Or anything. Yeah, that sounds horrible. Jeez. No, I've shot a lot of guns, but I have never treated a gun like a toy. Oh, I own several guns. I sold them to cops back home because I came to the city, and I don't. Yeah, you can know that. I don't like to keep guns in this house. I got small children, and I live with a city. However,
Each household next month.
within 5 to 10 minutes, I can have people here with real guns. So, anyways. I hate doing that, pulling that card. Like, I'll tell mommy on you, but yeah, we have a very good police force here, so I'm not worried about it. And I'm sorry, that snitches get stitches doesn't apply if you're getting attacked or if someone's. I mean, I'll lay you out, but I'm getting older. I do have some experience of it too. Let's see. Overlook's residents now have enough skull from stuttering and or blacking out and or dying for the rest of the year. Karima. I'm sorry, Karima.
If I had 10 people like you, this town would be running like clockwork.
Oh, it's so adorable too. Overlook needs a shield. Yes. Oh, wait.
Brains aren't going to rot from the...
Sorry, we can pause. That's 30 minutes. Sorry, my alarm went off. Well, 30-ish minutes. So we'll go ahead and stop there, and we will continue helping Karima and taking on... Oh, yeah. I'll see you in the next one. Ta-ta.